Hey, gather round, where they play and they win, gather round. Hey, look what you get when you play and you win. Right over here now, gather round, where they play and they win. Hey, by golly, if you can't win this one, you couldn't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time.
Often in the dark of night, they came, exhausted from their previous day labor, a teardown, a drive of perhaps considerable distance to the next stop. In trucks they called straight jobs, or, if their operation was large enough and multiple concessions were included, semi-trailers, their stick joints or game concessions were methodically racked. Huddled in small groups, the game concessionaires or agents, as they were called then, waited for locations so that the process of setting up could begin all over again. Once spotted, the lumber and khaki canvas were unloaded, laid out with precision, and their concessions again started to take shape. Each piece of lumber, carefully marked with special code, told the setup crew exactly where it needed to be placed on the ground. There was only one way each 2x4, hinged at both ends, fit into the next 2x4 and the next. Once the canvas was draped over the peak of the concession, the call for extra help went out to raise it. Next off the truck or trailer was the counter and various game pieces. When everything else was in place, the stock or prizes were unloaded and the joint was flashed and made most appealing and inviting to potential customers. From the birth of the organized carnival in America, through its growth over the last 100 years, and now into the dawn of this new century, game concessions have always been an intricate part of the fabric of the Midway experience. There was a time in the early and mid-1900s when games were much more difficult to win. They were not regulated by the guidelines that now exist in most states. The closest thing to a uniform for game operators was a white t-shirt. In all too many cases, many of those same operators were fly-by-nights, looking to make a fast buck followed by a quick getaway. In those early years, the professional concessionaire was a rarity. Their reputation and concern for the overall image of the industry was seldom considered.
If we look back to our midways of 40 years ago, and we look at our midways of the new millennium, we can see how we've changed as far as our color in our games, on our canvas, in our merchandise.
We can make money, we can make a living, a nice living, with just treating the public fair, give them a fair deal, and the way with what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I think it's become a way of the past.
What can we all do to raise awareness of operators who are still 20 to 30 years behind the times? How can we give them a wake-up call and bring them into the new century?
Well, there again, I say honesty and integrity. If we, show them that it works, maybe they'll get a wake-up call and realize that, they're behind the times, and people just don't want to be ripped off anymore. They want to come out here and have fun and walk away with some stuffed animals.
Somewhere in the process of growth and change, the philosophy of successful game operations changed too. Most of the fly-by-night operators were replaced by more professional people who had either grown up in the carnival business or were ready to turn their backs on a regular 9-to-5 job. Good carnival owners and operators thinned out or replaced completely some of the less desirable games in favor of legitimate game concessions. The more successful game attendants started endorsing the notion that they were not just in the game business, but in the stock business. Today, conventional wisdom says that a good game operator should return in prizes approximately 30% of revenues taken in. The mid-70s to mid-80s saw dramatic changes as manufacturers were starting to mass-produce trailers with features built in that included carpeting and hydraulic awnings. Canvas became much more colorful and replaced the simple red and white stripes. For the outdoor amusement industry, concession trailers today feature first-class aluminum and steel construction. These completely framed and trailer-mounted merchandising units are a vast departure from their stick joint ancestors. With the dramatic changes in the manufacture of concession game trailers, another significant change became widespread when the emphasis shifted from the individual player to multiple players or group games. In addition to the excitement and challenge of playing and winning a carnival game, The prizes guests play for have always been an attraction as well.
The games now are worked on a system of volume where the more people that play, the more prizes that go out. With the price increases, we're able to give away larger merchandise and more of it. It's like a farmer planting seeds in the field. The crop keeps coming back as you plant the seeds. As we give out more prizes each year, we hopefully will increase the volume of the games so that the people will come back year after year.
Over the years, the hottest items in retail at any given time have made their way to the Midway game concession. Everything from licensed movie characters to two-wheel scooters and SpongeBob's have shown up on the prize rack in carnival games. The constant throughout, however, has been stuffed animals or plush, as it is commonly referred to in the business. While so much in our society continues to change, there is still something special about winning a teddy bear for that special someone. The OABA's Foundation for the Future program, as well as this video, Game Concessions, Colorful Past, Spectacular Future, reflect the trends and standards we are striving for today. Some of these trends currently include brightly colored and matching canvas with unique designs, themed by individual carnivals. Professionally generated signs which clearly state all rules, pricing, and the object of each game and how to become a winner is now the norm. As our society becomes more diverse, we see bilingual signage. We are also more sensitive to physically challenged guests with messages that include, "We will assist anyone with a disability in the spirit of the Americans with Disabilities Act." Game attendants themselves are trained and encouraged to be polite and courteous, to be well-groomed and maintain a professional demeanor inside and outside their game. Most carnivals today have a dress code for all employees, including game attendants with a uniform shirt and hat, as well as a photo ID. They are also trained to explain the object of their game and be able to demonstrate that the game is winnable. Today's attendants are not only trained about their specific game, but equipped with information that will be helpful in answering any general questions. Many of these same attendants move on to become supervisors as they gain more experience. Families today, more so than ever, want to feel safe and secure when they visit our midways. They also want to feel that they have a fair chance to win any game they choose to play, and for a reasonable amount of money. With so much on our carnival midways, guests want to be able to spread their money around between rides, food, and attractions.
I think we're seeing, particularly here where we've got games and rides competing again for those dollars by way of our ticketing system, we're seeing that the game operators are competing more so and becoming more competitive in the things they're doing, such as improving the appearance of their operation.
Today, appearance and guest satisfaction are key. From benches for comfort to landscaping, from colorful flags waving in the breeze to computer-generated music and lighting packages in state-of-the-art game concession trailers, we must continue to be committed to creating a better, more enjoyable midway environment for our guests. It is the goal of this video, in conjunction with the OABA's Foundation for the Future, to outline guidelines that will assure guest satisfaction and repeat business. The Foundation for the Future written document declares, the OABA's Board of Directors believes that all business owners, and especially members of our trade association, should continue to raise the level of safety and quality in the mobile amusement industry. In doing so, not only will revenues improve, but also our family businesses will reap more positive public relations and improved image in the eyes of our customers or guests on the midway. We believe the public's perception of carnivals is based on safety, value, quality, and appearance of our shows.
I stress to all my employees to treat every patron of the fair as though they're my very best friend. And if you treat them that way, they're going to always come back.
I think our greatest strength is the rapport we have with the customer these days. You know, we more want to please the customer, and we're more in customer awareness.
If the show owner would talk to those older operators and either not book them or say, hey, you know, you got to get with it and change, upgrade. It's not the old days. It's for the best.
Foundation for the Future guidelines continue. The perception of value and quality of a game, plus guest relations and service by game attendants, will determine the public's opinion of our game operation. By maintaining clean operations, providing winnable games, In providing quality stock based on the skill and price of the game, our guests will continue to support our game concessions.
What can we all do to raise awareness for operators who are still 20 to 30 years behind the times? How can we give them a wake-up call and bring them into the new century?
Probably everybody obey the code of ethics, and that would be a good start.
Well, they're probably getting a wake-up call financially, because if they're not in the new century, they're not going to be able to make a living.
In the early days, it was tougher for a customer to get a decent prize, but now they're well aware of what they're getting before they play the games.
We have witnessed an enormous evolution in the first 100 years of carnival game concessions. The future affords us endless opportunities to continue and expand our concession operations. We feel the possibilities for our industry are limitless.
Many of the things that we implement today hopefully will set this precedent and standards for future generations to come. And by the time my children take over, they'll enjoy it, and a lot of the perceptions of today will be forgotten, and it'll be positive, clean, good, wholesome fun for many generations to come. And I'm very proud of what I do, and I hope to do it for the rest of my life.
The OABA is confident that by continuing the adjustments we have always been willing to make in meeting the demands of ever-changing times, updating and modernizing our game concessions operations in the future, as we have done in the past, we can secure our place in the grand scheme of midway operations and carnival fun. We can assure a bright and prosperous future for ourselves and our families. Most assuredly, learning from the experiences of our colorful past, we can build a spectacular future.